Welcome to The Explainer. So today, we're going to peel back the layers of, well, a pretty complex buzzword. It's one we all use, but if we're being completely honest with ourselves, we rarely truly practice it. We're talking about integrity. What does it actually mean to live a totally undivided life?
Okay, let's dive into this. I want to start by asking you a core, deeply personal question. Are you the same person when no one is looking? It's a super simple question, right? But it forces some immediate self-reflection. Are you really the exact same person in the dark as you are in the light? This is the hook. It captures exactly why this topic is just so incredibly challenging for every single one of us.
To understand why that question hits so hard, we actually have to look at the roots of the word itself. Integrity shares its origin with the word integer. Now, you might remember from math class that an integer is a whole number. It literally means complete. Nothing is missing, nothing is fractured. In that exact same way, a person of integrity is whole. They show absolute consistency between their values, their words, and their actions. They completely refuse to live a divided life, wearing one mask for the public and a totally different mask when they're all alone.
And well, here's the kind of uncomfortable truth about all this. Most of us are much better at performing integrity than actually living it. We know the right things to say. We know exactly how to look good. But the gap between our best public self and our actual private behavior, that space right there is exactly where true integrity develops.
Just think about the people you trust the absolute most in your life. Chances are you don't trust them because they're flawless. Actually, let's just completely dispel the myth of perfection right now. You trust them because they're consistent. Their actions actually match their words. They keep their promises. And, maybe most importantly, when they fall short, which they will, they have the humility to admit their mistakes. Integrity isn't about never failing, it's really about accountability and refusing to live that divided life we just talked about.
So, let's put you in the hot seat for a second with a quick hypothetical. Imagine you find a wallet, and it is just stuffed full of cash, lying on a dark street. There are no cameras, zero witnesses. Would you return it if you knew, with absolute certainty, that literally no one would ever know you found it? I mean, it's easy to say yes right now, but in the moment, that is a severe test of your wholeness.
Okay, how about this one? Would you give a coworker credit for their brilliant idea, even if claiming it as your own would earn you a massive promotion and huge praise from your boss? It's these unrewarded, completely unpublicized everyday actions that actually shape who we become. There's no grand headline for these choices, no audience, but they matter immensely.
And this brilliantly illustrates a core idea. Every honest decision strengthens our character, while every compromise makes the next compromise a little easier. It's like a giant building. Tiny cracks can eventually weaken a massive foundation, right? Well, small compromises weaken our character over time in the exact same way. If you cheat on a small assignment just because, everyone does it, you are laying the groundwork to cheat on something much, much bigger down the road.
This brings us perfectly into the next part of our explainer. We need to contrast two things that get confused all the time: character versus reputation. This is the ultimate showdown between our internal reality and our external perception.
So, character is simply who you are. It's revealed entirely by your private choices and is guided by your internal values. Reputation, on the other hand, is just what others think of you. It's built on appearances and is very often guided by convenience or just chasing social recognition. Now, while these two concepts usually correlate, they are absolutely not identical. True integrity demands that we prioritize our character over our social standing every single time. Let's throw out another hypothetical just to really hammer this home. What if you accidentally received a refund you weren't actually entitled to? A person operating purely on a reputation mindset is going to look around and ask, will anyone find out? But a person operating on character asks a very different question. They ask, what is the right thing to do?
The crucial point here is that reputation can change literally overnight. A rumor, a simple misunderstanding, or a false accusation can instantly destroy how others perceive you, even if your character is rock solid. And hey, the reverse is true too. Someone can enjoy a fantastic public image while secretly making terrible, unethical decisions behind closed doors. You just can't bank on reputation. And when we scale this up to the group level, it becomes incredibly dangerous. We see a predictable progression of how communities and entire organizations fail. First, they prioritize protecting their reputation over character. Second, they start hiding problems just to avoid public embarrassment. Third, they ignore internal misconduct. And finally, trust completely erodes from within. When any group judges success solely by appearances, they ultimately fail their members.
Let's move to our final section, the crucible, integrity under pressure. Let's move to and see how this builds.
Because this is the ultimate test of everything we've talked about today, acting rightly when it actually costs you something real. Let's be totally honest with ourselves. Integrity is remarkably easy when there is no cost. Making ethical decisions is a breeze when everyone completely agrees with you, and when doing the right thing happens to benefit you personally. But the real test is moral courage. What happens when speaking up is going to create friction and conflict?
We face everyday pressures that actively tempt us to compromise our values. It could be the fear of rejection, a desperate desire for approval, misplaced loyalty to friends, naked ambition, or honestly, just wanting to avoid an uncomfortable conflict. It's that exact moment a friend nudges you and encourages you to ignore a rule because, quote, everyone else is doing it.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how research completely debunks this pressure myth. The data shows that people wildly overestimate how much their peers will judge them for acting with integrity. We build it up in our heads into this massive, terrifying thing, but the surprising fact is that the social cost of doing the right thing is usually much, much lower than we actually fear.
And that is what moral courage is all about. It's choosing alignment over the easy path. People might not agree with your decisions in the heat of the moment, and yeah, it might be wildly uncomfortable. But choosing the path that actually aligns with your principles is what builds lasting respect, both from others and, way more importantly, from yourself.
I want to conclude this explainer with a really powerful, lingering self-audit. I want you to genuinely ask yourself this before making your next tough call. If my decision became public tomorrow, would I still feel confident? Just let that question sit with you for a second. It is the ultimate measure of whether you're truly living a whole, undivided life. Thanks so much for joining me to explore this today, and I challenge you to start prioritizing your character right now.